What is going on, guys? Grave here. Today I'd like to talk about the movement in Battlefield 6. This has been a pretty big topic since, of course, the multiplayer reveal. There are some different movement mechanics available in this Battlefield compared to the other Battlefield games we've had, but also kind of a idea of going back to the basic Battlefield 3 and 4 and, post 2042 games. The first thing is, of course, there is no tac sprint. I know some people like the sound of that, some people don't. I do feel like tac sprint in 2042 got you killed a lot because, if you turned it on to automatically tac sprint, that's what most everyone did. I felt like a lot of times, you were getting in situations where it was getting you killed because you were using that tac sprint. So I kind of like the idea of going back to that old school Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 movement while sprinting. But we also have the combat roll, which is something you can do like out of Windows was the example they used where you can combat roll. We have seen that in Battlefield before. Of course, we have dive, lean, peek, and crouch while sprinting. Of course, I'm sure that's to kind of dodge bullets and debris and things like that. You're also going to have the option to mount your weapon. I know it's not really a movement feature, but it is kind of something that plays into the new idea of how all of the feel of combat is going to work with movement kind of tied into it. One thing that a lot of people were talking about in the multiplayer reveal was kind of slide shotting and jump shotting that was kind of prevalent in the multiplayer reveal. Of course, you had a lot of content creators there that are either professional, gamers when it comes to playing esports. Some of them are retired, some of them still playing now. Then, of course, you had just a lot of YouTube and Twitch, just regular creators. But a lot of these people play a lot of games, and a lot of them are really good when it comes to movement. And especially some of the esports players, you can see their movement was really, really good. I'm not sure if that's kind of hard to judge to me because those people, like I said, they're playing games for a living. They're part of a esports organization where they're playing Call of Duty, Rainbow Six, whatever the case may be there, Halo. But overall, their movement's always a little bit different. People like that are going to be in the top 1% of the player base in any game. So I'm not sure if everyone's going to be able to hop in and move around like that. I've heard a lot of good things about the movement where it's kind of in a middle ground. You're still able to move around the map, but it's not too extreme. So we'll kind of have to wait and see how the sliding and jump shotting and things like that are when the beta comes out. I'm sure the devs will be paying close attention to that because I don't think they're going to let that go too crazy. But at the same time, you don't want to feel like you're just running around stiff on the map. I know a lot of people like the idea of an older Battlefield game, but at the same time, you don't exactly want the movement to be or feel older, if that makes sense. Overall, I think right now, from what we've seen, the movement looks really good. I think this is a good kind of place for the game to be. We still want some good movement, to be able to, go around the map easily, but nothing too crazy. So we'll kind of have to wait and see when the beta launches, of course, here in just a few days with early access on the 7th and the open beta starting on the 9th. How that movement feels in game. I'm kind of curious to this crouch while sprinting. That's kind of an interesting idea. The peek and lean is definitely something that other games have that I think is going to be interesting as well. Going to give you a little bit more ability to look around a corner and still not expose yourself entirely, to someone being able to shoot back at you. So I think that would be a kind of something that makes me curious to see how it's going to work inside of Battlefield. But overall, I think the movement, from everything that we've seen anyway, looks like it's in a pretty good spot in my opinion. Leave me a comment with your thoughts, and of course, if you like the video, hit the like. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.